Hello everyone. I live in a small apartment and I'm a fan of living simply and staying clutter-free. The problem is, I also film YouTube videos and that can require a lot of kit, time and space. So if you're looking to build or upgrade your YouTube setup, or you're starting out with a channel or a podcast, here's my take on the best solutions for a flexible, streamlined YouTube studio setup for smaller spaces, whilst not sacrificing quality. Right, hello everyone, welcome back to Better Creating. If you are new here, my name's Simon and this channel is about simplifying creative life. So I make videos about productivity, lots of stuff on Notion, intentional living, and of course, creating better content. And after 9 months basically of being on this channel, it's a return to some content on content creation. I wanted to share some of the things I've learned about kind of minimizing and streamlining the approach to making content. One of the biggest challenges that I've found is how to build an affordable, effective studio setup that can also just be hidden away into a cupboard in this, what is basically 65 square meter apartment. It's really small. And it's hard to leave things out here because you want to be able to film quickly and not go through hours of setting up and breaking down. So here are my quick choices and hacks to maximize results and reduce the amount of time, energy, money, and space that you need to produce good quality videos. We're gonna tour my kit. I want to talk to you about camera and lenses, audio, lighting and editing, as well as 7 quick tips for productively and effectively filming in smaller spaces. Cool, let's do it. So when it comes to camera gear, I'm using a Fuji X-T4. I won't go into loads of detail about this, but it's a great hybrid camera. I can use it for stills as much as videos with a flick of a switch. It's brilliant therefore for thumbnails, as a webcam, and of course as a film camera. So as a hybrid camera, to do everything on a YouTube channel in a compact size, this was a no-brainer really, and the Fuji colours, you can't beat them. Now you'll see a range of lenses here. It came with the 16-80 kit lens. Absolutely brilliant lens. It's only f4, so it can be a bit dark. My recommendation, if you're gonna go with Fuji, for example, would be to pay the money for the 16-55 or get the kit lens, which is the 18-55, because I think they're much better with autofocus and you're looking at about a 2.8 aperture, so you get a little bit more depth of field. However, I really use this for photography and really wide shots sometimes in the office. This, however, I'm filming on a 24mm f2.8 Canon FD lens, and this is a set of Canon FDs. Setup tip number 1, consider vintage lenses for video. Vintage lenses, fully manual. Took me a while to find them, but the cost of all 4 of these lenses, a 24mm, a 35, a 55 f1.2, absolutely beautiful lens, and an 85 1.8, all would cost the same as that 16-55 beautiful Fuji lens. So this kit actually, prime lenses, beautiful image, a little bit softer. I do everything manual focus now on my channel, and I have to say it's the way forward. You don't have to worry about anything. You just have to get good at focusing. I could reduce that down probably and not use that, and not use that, and just use the 24 and the 55. And this, as a kit to get everything done, absolutely brilliant, and you get that lovely filmic look from some of these. Filters, a simple variable ND filter from Canon Concept is what I've used. So setup tip number 2 for a small space studio is to unify things to fit as much as possible. I've adapted all of my lenses with step-up rings so they all fit the same ND filter, and on these I've put focus gears just to make it a little bit easier to focus with. This is a 35 f2. I use that for photography. It's beautiful. The autofocus is awful and very jumpy, so I wouldn't use it for video. The tripod I bought ages ago is this KNF Concept tripod. Really small footprint, fits in my backpack, does everything, and you can see that I can shoot from every angle with this. It's one of the best investments. I can even prop it up next to my desk and use it to get into small corners. Setup tip 3, clamps are your friend. You might want to consider a clamp arm if you've got a very small space. That can be a great way to manage getting a camera into a small corner. Sound. Setup tip number 4 is one mic to rule them all. I found, I think, the single solution you'll ever need, the Rode Wireless Go 2. If you're wanting to start out and want to invest in a single low footprint audio solution for YouTube or even podcasting. Now what's great is there's 2 transmitters, so you can easily do interviews on the go or in situ. You can even do things like rig one into this, which I'll talk about later, and keep this as a transmitter that you could also plug into a lavalier mic that you can just thread and clip. The receiver is obviously currently on my camera and would receive from both of these. I've only got one turned on at the moment. And the best thing about it is you can record in 1 or 2 channels. It will also do a backup recording, which is amazing, on the actual transmitter. So you're never going to lose audio. And to be honest though, it's so powerful, you could go 200 meters with this line of sight and still hear from it. Pretty amazing. The best thing about this kit though that I think I've realized, for live streaming, you can now also plug directly into a computer. So via USB, you can use it as your mic or things like Zoom calls. And then there's this. This is the Interview Go. Now it's really just a bit of plastic. Let me just take this off. And a pop filter. There it is, there's the other transmitter. But the amazing thing about this is I think that the quality you get from this is actually really brilliant for what it is. 2 of these on little table stands can basically be a wireless podcast setup for interviews, which is something I'm intending to do in the future. Brilliant for things like voiceovers. You can then also use it as it is, just clip it on for quick stuff on the go. Interviews outside, use it as a transmitter pack with a lavalier. I've actually, because I love the sound, been booming this in on this old mic stand, but for actual kind of taking up space, the simplest thing is this kit, a lavalier mic, and you're away. Okay, so if my hair looks a bit weird, I've been out on my bike, so I've got helmet bike hair, so there we go. I've come to the spare room to talk to you about lighting. These have been the best solution that I've found for lighting flexibly and portably in a small space. This is an RGB LED panel by Neewer. What's cool about these is you can control them with an app on your phone to get a whole spectrum of colours. But to be honest with you, if you were going to go for anything, I would go for the 660 bi-colour Neewer LED panels. A little bit more powerful, really surprisingly colour accurate for daylight, and they're bi-colour so you can kind of go the full spectrum of this very warm light right up to daylight. They also have these lovely softbox kind of attachments, but ultimately they do a massively good job of just being able to whack them on a stand or even sit them on a shelf or whatever it is and use them as key lights, backlights, whatever you want. I am lighting this scene essentially with a key light, a 660 bi-colour at daylight. I've got this right down to tungsten at 10% just to kind of show you it, but also gives you a sense of it. And there's also another one of these right up the top up there, which is providing all of that backlight. And that comes to the next point about ways of lighting small spaces. If I'm over in this corner and wanting to talk to you from the computer, you can see how little space there is in that corner to fit a light. So setup tip 5, bouncing light, reflecting light. Not only does it diffuse it and actually give you a much bigger light source and a much more flattering quality of light, you can do it really simply and just bounce it back the other way. So 2 to 3 lights will do the whole job. Setup tip 6, find depth and leading lines by filming on a diagonal and not square on. But this is just a really natural background. You'll see there are these kind of leading lines coming in to the sides just because of the fact that we're in the corner of a room. So that can really help focus your subject. And finally, you've got practical lights that are in the room, and it just adds a kind of motivation to where your light might be coming from. Whether or not I'm getting that right at the moment is another question. This is the Amran ALM9 aperture little light. They also come with gels, so you can adjust the colours on them. Some of the newer ones are adjustable, but really bright for what it is. But what's really cool about these is you can change the quality of the lighting in the room, and they're really good just to kind of hide away into a corner and create a little look. The other thing I would really recommend is one of these. I think they're called goosenecks, to get really good tight angles. You've got barn doors and you're trying to do that, it'll only go so far. So one of these, a couple of quid off Amazon, will do the trick nicely. A streamlined setup for editing and post-production. There's many ways you can approach this, right? People edit from everything from DaVinci Resolve to Final Cut Pro, Premiere, but to be honest with you, my go-to place to do absolutely everything from sound editing, do images, artwork. I do it all on an iPad. I made a video of the best iPad apps for creators. Check it out, I'll link it above. Definitely the thing that I do all my work on. It also works, if I want it to, as a teleprompter. I can pop it onto a kind of homemade teleprompter and use it to do more complex bits of script. The other two things that I use, which are absolutely essential to me, is an SSD hard drive, solid state drive. This is the SanDisk Extreme Pro 1 terabyte, the fastest drive I've ever owned. So it basically means I can edit off this. I keep all my assets, so all the kind of B-roll and other bits of stuff that I might want to reuse on here, keeping the iPad clear so it's as fast and as effective as it can be, and I don't get stuck when I want to kind of render things out. I've also got a video on color grading in Fuji and using Affinity Photo, so there's a load of great stuff on the channel if you're interested in more of that. And the third big tool that's pretty obvious but essential is a really good pair of headphones. These are Sony's noise cancelling things. I use them for flights. Great for when you want to switch off, but you can also plug in a mini jack and they're pretty sound accurate that way around. But yeah, if you're a podcaster, maybe some more serious studio headphones would help you out. Now the great thing about all of this kit is that bar maybe the stands, which fold down pretty small, I might have to strap them on the side, all of this would go into a good sized backpack. Tip number 7, think first, act second. Effective planning and structuring of your process. I took a lot of time when I started out setting up, moving between shots. Actually, by structuring out videos and planning shots, I can film 1, 2, even 3 videos at once, do it in like 3 different setups, and it completely halves the amount of time that you spend. I use the content creation dashboard that I've made in Notion to do all of that, heavily inspired by Thomas Frank's system. It's part of my wider productivity system. If you're interested, you can actually download that via my website, so check that out. Now, something exciting is happening. If you're watching this reasonably, like, you know, as it comes out, next week is my first YouTube collaboration. Yeah, that's happening. It's around Notion, it's gonna be good, and some exciting personal news. Something cool is happening that I think you might really enjoy. I'm just gonna let that hang in the air. It would be wicked if you hit the like button if you enjoyed this. It would be amazing if you subscribed if you're not. And I'll see you in the next video.